I appreciate you listening to me right now. And, you got to be able to listen well when you're doing this stuff because it's important. And I want to be able to hear, if you're listening to music, for example, and you got a great speaker system or a woofer or a tweeter or a wedge or a wedgie, I don't know how you're doing it. Maybe you got little things in your ears. I don't know. Maybe your ears need to be cleaned out. But whether you're working from home or you're working on your fitness, say you're working out, right? No matter what you're listening to, whether it's music or you're having a conversation with your mom, your dog, your cat, your roommate, your significant other, you want a great pair of wireless earbuds because they're fun and they're great. But before you go dropping hundreds of dollars on a pair, you know what you need to do? You need to really do this. Check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds, and if you don't, you should, because they start at half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as amazing as any other top audio brands you know. Their newest model, listen to this because it's their newest, the Everyday E25 earbuds are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Do you know how important it is to have a noise-isolating fit? That held my marriage together. Now's the time to get the latest and the greatest from Raycon. You get 15% off with your order at buyraycon.com/Saget. That's buyraycon.com/Saget. That's me, right? For 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Saget. I don't know if you heard me. Maybe you need some Raycon earbuds. Well, here we go. I always say a special episode, but this is, and welcome, and I hope you guys are doing as well as you can do with all of the craziness in the world. If you're able to watch me on YouTube, you can see there's a light switch right there, which sometimes I could pick a more beautiful place, but I haven't yet. I just think a leather chair and the bottom rim of a huge mirror that shows the rest of the room is unnecessary. Less is more. That's how I've always looked at my lower parts. By the way, if you're 12, that doesn't mean anything. It just means, your toys, your things you keep on the ground, Legos, which I have wrapped around my penis. What can I say? A bunch of stuff. I got a little business to take care of. Why not? This episode is, I don't have that. I'm not that many in. I'm only into my 30s with these episodes, and I love doing this. I think I've been pretty clear about it. I have no material gain out of it, except I love communicating with people and friends and talented people and hear how they're doing. And today's guest is an amazing person. In every way, I've known her for so long. She's a movie star. She's a television star, which sounds, the word star is almost offensive in this day and age, but she is just an amazing talent. Whoopi Goldberg is going to be on in just a moment. And I just want to tell you a couple things. One, you can go to my YouTube page, which is still a newbie, but it's just youtube.com/Bob Saget. I don't like the way that sounds. Slash could be a verb. I don't like that. But that will show you the Zoom interviews, all of these interviews we've been doing that are visual, because I started this podcast before the pandemic and we were only audio at the time. I don't think Zoom had any stockholders at the time. Maybe they did, because they had board meetings for big oil companies. And what else? Review, rate, subscribe. That's what you want to do. Subscribe, or follow, whatever it is, wherever your source is of how you watch this or listen to this podcast. That comes from my heart. So without any further ado, boy, that was a long intro. Here comes someone I've loved a very long time, Whoopi Goldberg. So did you work all morning?
Yep. Yeah.
How is it doing throughout this time where I find that you're the most needed? I don't know if I feel like when I watch you and I watch the show I feel a calmness. There's something because we're not getting the honesty we deserve.
Well, how could we? I mean, we've never in the last 3.5 years, we've never gotten the honesty we deserve. So it's not, none of this is a surprise or a shock. It's just a disappointment, because you think somebody would grow into it or recognize that, oh my, this is my job. I am the leader of the free world, not this one. He's just like, oh, okay, hey, maybe I'll press this button. No, what happens if I press, oh, I'm going to get rid. It's like, God, come on, Goofy.
I know.
Come on.
Let's send kids back to school where just snot flies like a centrifuge.
Well, yeah. I want to see where you're sending your kids to school first. I want to know, because, if your kid's getting checked every 5 minutes, if you give us all the same rights to have our children checked every 20 minutes like they check you, then hell, yeah, sure.
Right.
Why not?
Well,
but you're not offering that.
Well, they have it worse. His kids are homeschooled. That's the worst.
Well, it really is. It tells you everything, really.
I think he's going through hop on pop with them right now.
You're funny.
How have you been otherwise? It's quarantine-ish. You go from work. You go from your home the whole time.
I go from my bed into my office.
Right.
And no one is happier than me. I don't have to wear pants. I make them wonder if I am.
Right.
These are the things that make me very happy and keep me going.
I think there's less urinary tract infections due to this because there's so much airage. Well,
I believe that's so. But, you get to be a certain age and you're glad if anything introduces itself. I mean, it's,
just a breeze, a nice little breeze.
Because you never know what you're cooking.
We're incubators.
That's right.
We truly are incubators. And the weirdest part is the people that really have the most information, which changes every day, are now not allowed to speak.
Well, that's because we all know what they're saying. We know what they're going to say. So it's really, I'm okay if you can't go on television in front of people and sort of change or massage what you're saying, because I know what you're saying. You're saying, put a mask on, dummy.
Right.
Or, this is going to be an issue for you. And gee, California, I love California, but Orange County, you should have kept your masks on.
I know.
And, unfortunately, people have to, my mother used to call this hard head, soft ass.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You're so hard-headed that now, your ass is just out, and you will get your ass beaten because you're a hard head.
Well, and it's COVID parties. The people are having actual COVID parties, but the party's over. I mean, it's over.
Well, people are dying. That's what supposedly this kid said. Maybe I, should have taken it seriously. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see the sound bites, and they are treacherous when we hear how people guffaw and how I forgot her title, the head of the Board of Education of the United States. What is
DeVos?
Oh, I've never heard anything like it. It was literally how I used to do papers in 5th grade, where I just didn't know any answer, or you haven't read the material and you just blah, 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 blah. But
it's been like this the whole time.
Of course it has.
It's been like this the whole time. She's not gotten any smarter than she was when she first got the job.
No.
And what I do know is that if you don't surround yourself with people who have the best interest of the country at heart, this is not going to work, because dictators always make these mistakes.
Yeah.
They start doing stupid stuff, and then everyone starts getting sucked in, and then you go, wait a minute, you don't care about me. You don't care about my kid. You don't care if my kid goes back to school. You're so up your own behind that you don't recognize that you're out there now. We all see, we don't need to hear Fauci say anymore because we see it.
Yeah.
You don't need Betsy DeVos to tell you any more ridiculous suggestions. Don't tell me the CDC is their suggestions. That's not a suggestion. Fauci's not making suggestions. He's saying, here's what you got to do. And all these people who keep saying, well, he was wrong. Yeah, a lot of people were wrong, but he's right now.
Oh, he's 100% right. I met him years ago when I was trying to work on what you've been kind enough to help me on, scleroderma, which my sister, I lost her to. And that disease is similar in some ways in that it's autoimmune, but it's also vascular, but it affects the lungs and it scars the lungs. And it also is disproportionately affects people of African descent. And that I'm told, I was talking to Joe Rogan the other day, and that's where I get my information these days. Is who are you interviewing? Whose podcast are you on? Do you want to watch the news? You don't have to. You have the guest right there, so you get your answer.
Yeah.
But it's a lack of vitamin D. There's all different theories of why it's disproportionate. But it's just amazing to me that it's all happening. And it's amazing, but it makes total sense that it's all happening at the same time. That we've had no father or mother of our country, that we've had no one capable of empathy and of unification.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, there's no reason why I shouldn't be in New York coming to your show, hugging you right now.
Yeah.
And us going, okay, let's finally go get a drink, in a restaurant.
Yeah.
But it's over for a while. For
a little while. But this is what we needed. I believe that the light at the end of this particular tunnel is multi. Families have relearned what it means to be a family.
Yes.
Phones, which were attached to people in their nostrils, have been put down, and people are actually playing games at home. People are talking about what it was like, to sit with their mother and father, and what it was like to hang out with the family when the family dictated what you did. And it wasn't an individual choice. It was a family decision. No, my mom and dad say I can't answer the phone until they've cleared whoever it is, So little things that have sort of been whittled away, which people needed to have some direction in your family. Who's in charge here?
Right.
I'm the parent. I'm telling you, get out of my room and go to your room and clean it up because it smells like a sewer. And suddenly, adult children are going, you're right, let me go clean this. Let me go take care of this. Little things that we've been missing, little responsibilities that we maybe gave away or just gave up or stopped listening when people were talking because we had to talk to people outside of our phone. All of that has shifted, and in a way that we could never have explained to our kids and our grandkids what that means, what that disconnect is. So we have all sort of interlocked again and reconnected. We have also learned what is really a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People really have bad days and they die.
Yeah.
So it's putting it all in perspective. And then suddenly we've learned what happens when we all decide that we're not going to listen. That chaos is what we're going to do. We're going to run them up. So California was going to open. Now they're not opening. They're slowly closing up again. Michigan slowly closing. And you know what? They're slowly closing. People are dying because some really bad adult who didn't have your best interest at heart told you to walk around outside without a mask.
Oh, yeah.
Told you to okay to go and yell in people's faces, holding your gun, being pissed off about a monument, not realizing that you are spitting a killer into the faces of the people that you're screaming at. So all of these lessons, hard learned, didn't have to beat as hard.
And they're going to have to learn it again because they're not going to listen. They're going to open again, and there's going to be we haven't even had a second wave yet.
No, but you know what? People may have to close up again, but I feel really strongly that people in Florida and in Texas and in Louisiana and all these states that had lots to say about these are my rights and Arizona, these are my rights. Okay, so here's your right. Here's your right to go into the hospital.
Yeah.
To have to look in the eyes of the people that you were screaming at when you were calling them fakes, because they were telling you to wear a mask, because you knew better than the doctors. Now you have to be polite in your illness because they will take care of you anyway. That's the beauty of the doctor.
If you can get a bed right now in Florida, after watching that soundbite of the governor screaming and yelling, and what is all the screaming and yelling? What world are we in? We've never been...
We're in the world of theater, live theater, we're screaming and yelling and,
driven by ratings, driven by news ratings, sound bites, and then everyone knows the camera's on them, so they want to get their point across. It's like a giant South Park episode where someone has their moment.
Yeah.
And everything is a split screen of someone who's the president or the head of something, or a Tony Fauci, and then the person arguing with them has 50,000 followers on Twitter. That's the other person, because everyone goes toward who has their voice. And their voice could be insane, what they believe in.
Well, here's the thing. You can have 50,000 or 1 million followers on Twitter, but, if they're listening to you, chances are they're all in the hospital too.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really help. But the only way we're going to get through this phase is the hard way. See, so we got to do the hard way, which, is probably best because that's how people learn lessons, unfortunately.
And then you got to get strong and fight through it and be lucky ones that have the stamina and the mental health to be able to do it. Because look at the homeless thing that's about to happen, that is happening. But, you're talking about the wonderfulness of being able to go into your mom's room or the kitchen, go to your room, you don't have a room. What if you don't? What if a whole family? On this podcast, I get to call people. And it's just one of the things I do besides talking to someone as awesome and amazing as you are, a hero of the world. I'm not kidding either, by the way. You've always been loved, always. Since I met you when I was a mere lad. I was
you were just a baby.
I was a little 21-year-old thing, and then I would see you at years later on Comic Relief with beautiful Robin and Billy, and those we never saw this happening back then. You didn't think of that.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. People fought really hard over the years to make sure that there was respect for folks who, if you lost your ability to hold on to your job, you weren't put down, you weren't crapped on, you weren't called names, you weren't called lazy. We did try to do the same for Native American folks and Black folks and women and gay folks. Really trying to strive to make us all feel like we're on secure footing. And then suddenly, this thing came along, which is called politically correct. And it began to whittle away at why people made the demands that they made.
Right.
Native Americans didn't want to be depicted this way anymore. They didn't want to be spoken about this way. Gay people didn't want these jokes made about them anymore. They just didn't. Discuss me like you would discuss any other human being. And so we got away and started to forget why people wanted you to pay attention. They all know they want you. You're a snowflake if you do that. You suddenly, when you talk about masks and stuff and people talk about their sexuality, it's unmasculine to wear a mask. Actually, no, it's unmasculine to open yourself up to die for no good reason.
No one's seeing
to martyr yourself for nothing.
Everybody became so superficial, and it's compounded itself with media, with phones, with everything, with glorification of the Kardashianism of America, of what's gorgeous and what's, everybody wants to be a reality star. I mean, all people.
Well, they've made it listen, the only person that has really sort of put it together, the Kardashians have done something that no one has been able to duplicate. Not the Trumps, not anybody. These folks took a really crappy situation, and turned it around,
right?
Because they were smart enough to say, okay, this is not how this is going down. We're going to do this a whole other way.
Don't say going down, because that's how it started.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. You make one tape and look what happens.
But tell that to all the people who made subsequent tapes and nothing happened.
Nothing, and they stay up there. I don't have any tapes. I don't have that kind of pride.
Well, I might have had tapes, but who can remember that far back?
Boy, haven't you gone through... I'm sorry, what was your point? You were talking about
I was just...
what they've turned around.
Saying that, if there's a takeaway here, it is you can turn around a shitty situation.
Right.
Perseverance. These folks persevered. And not only did they come out on top, they have taken it and turned it into many different things. So I wish people had the stick-to-itness that the Kardashian family has. Whether they are, one's ideas of what, you should be appreciative. I'm appreciative of the fact that she's not had to make another tape. She hasn't had to do any of that stuff. And the last laugh.
Well, the first tape was so good. Why remake it?
Well, she has the last laugh.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely.
And I've been cynical. I'm a comedian. I can't help it. The gene goes off. But not when it comes to, and some people, of course, disagree, but the bravery of Caitlyn is to stay stable and be able to be in the public eye, which that was born into all of the people. You could, in that family, you could pull out of the public eye. But to not do that and to make yourself an example because that's who you are is a very scary and bold thing to do.
Listen, when folks decide who they are and they're fine with it, how can you not be? How can you tell anybody that their truth about themselves is not right, because it isn't your truth?
And that's important for young people the most, because my daughters are scared of what the world is becoming. They're 33 now and 31 and 27. And it's a world that there is a feeling of what have we inherited. They don't blame me because they know I was always a person that I never saw race. I was raised in Norfolk, Virginia, where it was racist. I was a kid. Where were you again? I always forget. I should have looked.
New York, Manhattan.
And project. So did you have in the project? So did you have was it difficult coming up?
We were all poor. Everybody was poor. The white people were poor. The Latin people were poor. The Chinese people were poor. We were all poor. So that was what we had walking down the street. You couldn't tell who was who in New York because in wintertime, everybody's got on a big coat. So everybody looks fly, But you tell your kids, it is going to be okay. That this is an adjustment like we have never lived through, but our grandparents did.
They did.
Yes, they did. So this is the first time we have had to face this kind of adjustment, and it's happening a lot sooner to them than it is to us. We had to wait 50 years for the adjustment to happen. Our grandparents were kids when their adjustment happened.
Mine had to flee Russia because they were cutting the heads off. The Russian Cossacks were cutting the heads off of their relatives. So,
so adjustments happen. These are meant to teach us what not to be, what not to do, And so when you see more people going, wait a minute, I don't like this. That's right. I don't like this. You got to kind of say, okay, I'm glad to hear it. Come on, let's let folks know this is not okay. And it's okay to disagree.
That's the most important thing that I, as a human, go, why can't everybody? And we this fundamentalism, it's far, far left, far, far, far right. And both of them are not allowing a lot of us to say what we want to say by their rules if we had to live by them. But if everybody could have a discourse, which is what you do every day, if everyone can come to the table, we've lost the values and everyone's so ready to pounce. I can't wait to do stand-up again, but it takes 4 minutes to tee up something, say something that you can't say, and then 5 minutes to apologize for it.
But the bottom line is, at the beginning, you have to say, listen, I don't know who y'all are. I don't really care. I'm glad you paid to see me, but what I do, or you wouldn't be here.
Right.
So you're going to like some of it you're not going to like. What I don't want to do is have to apologize. So do me a favor, put your phone down.
Right.
Don't hold the phone up while I'm working, because this ain't TV.
Oh, we can't. I mean, Dave Chappelle locks them up, and Zip locks Chris. I mean, they have to.
Yes.
We have to take a quick break. I appreciate you listening to me right now. And, you got to be able to listen well when you're doing this stuff, because it's important. And I want to be able to hear, if you're listening to music, for example, and you got a great speaker system, or a woofer, or a tweeter, or a wedge, or a wedgie. I don't know how you're doing it. Maybe you got little things in your ears. I don't know. Maybe your ears need to be cleaned out. But whether you're working from home or you're working on your fitness, say you're working out, right? No matter what you're listening to, whether it's music or you're having a conversation with your mom, your dog, your cat, your roommate, your significant other, you want a great pair of wireless earbuds, because they're fun and they're great. But before you go dropping hundreds of dollars on a pair, you know what you need to do? You need to really do this. Check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds, and if you don't, you should, because they start at half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as amazing as any other top audio brands you know. Their newest model, listen to this because it's their newest, the Everyday E25 earbuds are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Do you know how important it is to have a noise-isolating fit? That held my marriage together. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable. They're perfect for conference calls or just binging podcasts. Listen to all of my podcasts right now, and you can do it. You might have to recharge them or get 4 pair and then just keep charging them and then keep doing, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, Raycon wireless earbuds are a game changer, because unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems to distract anyone during video calls. That's the worst thing if you have a video call and you got like antennas coming out of your head. You don't want to look like a beetle. I mean, you want to look like one of the Beatles, but you don't want to look like a bug or, grasshopper. That's what I'm thinking. You've heard me talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Melissa Etheridge, Brandy, J.R. Smith. All of these people are obsessed with Raycons. So pick up a pair and see what the hype is all about. Now's the time to get the latest and the greatest from Raycon. You get 15% off with your order at buyraycon.com/Saget. That's buyraycon.com/Saget That's me, right? For 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. By raycon.com/Saget. I don't know if you heard me. Maybe you need some Raycon earbuds. All right, we're back. I got people. So
I understand.
this is literally the beginning of broadcasting where we're at right now.
Yes.
It's literally because podcasts are radio. It's how people got through the war. And then when television happened, it looked like this. It was a two-shot of people talking. And then they put on little plays when the camera angles got a little more large with no audience.
Do we need an audience?
We have one. That's the thing. They're right there. And they need us. They need you. You're one of the shows that are really needed. I mean, it's the purest of all of them where there's a discussion.
Well, we do have the discussions. I mean, the beauty of what Barbara created was, of course, the ability to say, well, this is how I feel. This is how I feel today. Now, tomorrow it could be something totally different, but this is how I feel, and I'm entitled to it. I'm entitled to feel that way because the Constitution says I have the right.
Boy, people are trying to change that.
Yeah, well, that will be interesting. That will be interesting because that is the day we can no longer critique what our politicians and priests and, doctors, you have the right to say, I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. That's the beauty of the country, man. We're one of the few countries where you can do that and not get shot.
Yeah. That's the idea. Yeah, right. What time is
And
it was interesting. I was talking to, again, Joe Rogan the other day because I'm not talking to that many people if it wasn't for this. But I went there and did the podcast and got the swab and got the blood test. And it's one of the first times I've been out, except for a dinner that I will not redo. But he was saying, what if that moment with George Floyd had not happened? What if that girl hadn't videotaped that? What if that knee had not been on that neck? Would this have happened? And I didn't have time to really fully flesh it out because you're doing a conversation and you go, oh, why didn't I? And I think, yes, it would have, because everyone's in quarantine. No one can work. Problems that exist just amplify. Breonna Taylor, I mean, any trigger was ready to go because it was time. It was just
too many. And listen, I feel like I've had so many cops in my life, so many really good cops who really don't represent this other
at all
group that's in, it's like everything in life. You got good cops, you got really bad cops. And, if we can retrain our police officers to be the police officers they're supposed to be, the ones who are not looking for who's getting ready to jump me, but who's out there that I can help, who needs me, where it's not about you seeing me in terms of what my color looks like and not the quality of person who is saying to you, listen, here's my license, here's my stuff. Yes, I'm in a carry state, so my gun is in here, and you don't shoot me.
Right.
We need cops who are not that nervous to the point where they should not be police officers. They can be different kinds of officers, but they can't be the people who are protecting you. They can't be, because it means that you, me, everybody, our kids, we're all in danger of people who are too nervous, too uncomfortable to do this job.
They're scared. They're scared, and there's also the ego power thing that happens. It's no different than what trickles down from the orange leader, the orange meanie, who is thinking that force is the only way to stop anything. And psychological testing needs to be done. I believe it was Neil deGrasse who said it takes 4 months to train is all that's required. I don't know if it's true. In New York, 8 months in California to become a policeman, and it takes 12 months to become a pastry chef. So his metaphor was obviously it should be a year of training with pay. I think there should be some program that psychological, behavioral, everything.
I want cops treated like we treat doctors
and firefighters. They're heroes.
And firefighters. I want them treated like the heroes that they are. I want them trained properly. I want them to have the psychological help that they need.
That's the issue all across the board everywhere, because mental illness is everywhere. And I was talking to Howie Mandel, who's a dear friend, and I know you know Howie for a long time. And his OCD is not just OCD. It's a deep-seated thing. He wrote a book about it. And his belief in our conversations, we actually have been talking a lot. I've been talking to people that I've needed to talk to people. And I know you have too. And thank God you have the format to, otherwise we'd be just sitting here or talking to people on the phone going, so did you go into the living room? But he was saying that we're all born with 100% mental health issues. We all have mental illness. It's how much the choke is open. It's how much, to what degree. And I lost another sister who was schizophrenic. So that was, many people have been touched by that and don't want to talk about it.
If you're going, I feel like if you're going to go into service of some sort, you have to talk about it.
Must.
You have to, because not only are you carrying what your demons may be, but now you're looking at somebody else and you're judging them through a whole different set of tools that I may not know about. Right. So I need to know. We all need to make each other aware of what we have as strengths, the things that are harder for us. We need to let each other know this so that if there is someone who can help, we can grab onto them. But the idea that, people need to stop. Everybody just needs to stop and say, okay, what is the goal here? The goal is to make a better police department, a better group of people running the country, a better conversation to be had. That is the end goal, it seems to me.
100%.
That requires that we understand we're not going to hear everything we want to hear, and that requires that people say, okay, I need to do some homework so I know what statutes need to come down, or what statutes need to stay in place and why they need to stay. These are conversations.
People can't even agree on my whole thing is, and I mean, like, it's a joke to me, but it shouldn't be, but I can't help it, is that any statue that is basically like a hollow Easter bunny, if the thickness is less than an inch, it's made of tinfoil and 9 people can pull it down with a rope, it had no place being there anyway. I mean, that's something you put up for Mardi Gras. It's not really a statue. It's just it's a shell. If you can't move Ulysses S. Grant off the horse because it's made of molten lava, I guess you leave it. I mean,
with the information, and a lot of it.
Yes, yeah, I was joking, but yes.
I know you're cheesing, but a lot of the issues I find comes because people only have a quarter amount of the information. They don't have all the information, and they don't believe that you feel the way that you feel, even though you're saying, like, it's like when people say, well, I should be able to tell you what I feel and you should do what I tell you to do. Well, you know, that doesn't seem to work both ways, you know?
Right.
So I sort of feel like if I'm telling you that there are issues because you chose these heroes for me, and I'm telling you I may have some additions to this list, you got to hear people out. You have to stop condemning the idea that someone would say, hey, well, maybe George Washington, maybe he was a great guy here, but he really sucked over here. Same with Thomas Jefferson. He really was great here, but he really sucked over here. So how do we balance it?
And how do we really know? What is the exact history? How do we where do those facts come from? Because we were left
they come from the people who wrote the books.
Right. That's right.
But if you take a little DNA swab, you can find out if
you're right, if you're related.
Yeah, there are more and more amazing things happening in the world that will pull us closer together. But right now we're so far apart that it feels like it's insurmountable. It is not.
I agree. And that is the voice of reason that I think comes with maturity. I don't think, because a lot of people are scared and they think it's all coming down, and people can't even agree on Hamilton. This beautiful musical is out. What are your feelings on that people are saying, well, it's not relevant now because they had slaves, and how could this piece of art represent where we're at right now?
Well, it depends on what you're looking at. Hamilton this musical represents so many different things. It represents the idea that actors can be on a stage doing great material and triumph. Because material is great. And it doesn't matter what color the actors are. It doesn't matter.
No.
The actors are brilliant. You will not find any historical person, no person in history who walked on water. Not one of them. Everybody's got something.
Well, people will say Jesus did.
Well, but then they start with, but then he went in and destroyed the church, and it was,
Well, he was angry. They were selling jewelry outside the temple. I mean, I'd be mad.
You would be mad, but not if you're, not if he's not your thing.
Right.
You're like, what are you complaining about? But aside from JC, I don't know anybody who we're not going to find something on. Ulysses S. Grant, you mentioned Grant, he also had a slave or had slaves and then realized his folly and let him go. Said, I made a mistake here. I've done things that I made mistakes with, and I want to change them. See, if we could do
that, if we could have, during that Trump Mount Rushmore speech, if there were even, and that was just, I mean, I don't know how you can look at that and just, well, there are people that look at that and go, that's what I want to hear. That's right. But if you want to bring everybody into the conversation, you add a 6-minute hunk that's been written for him, that's cleverly written, that adds people, because his additions are mentioning Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would say, take my name off of that speech right now, please, because he would be against every single thing this man was saying. Muhammad Ali was not celebrated as the greatest of all time because he changed his name. He loved being a Muslim, and he wouldn't go to war, and he suffered because of it.
Yeah. But, when people read, this gentleman likes to rewrite history a lot. So he likes to make stuff up and pull stuff out.
He doesn't even know it. I mean,
well, that's the unfortunate part, is that it's so easy to trip him up, but it shouldn't be about finding a way to trip him up. It should really have been about, gee, you know what? I'm not sure about this mask thing, but just in case, put your mask on. Put your mask on just in case, because I care about you.
I wish somebody could get through to him. You know, I wish one of his kids would say that to him. There's things that, I mean, I think he's, according to the book.
It's not about him anymore, babe.
No, I know.
It's not about him anymore. It's really bound to us, right? It's down to, what are you going to do? What am I going to do?
Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the right thing. You're going to do the right thing. And
I'm going to try.
Right. And we're going to lead by whatever example we can. But we need a leader and leaders and get rid of this horrible bunch of people, these cronies.
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know they're there. I'm glad to know where everybody is. They shine a light on, and it's like, oh, there you are. Okay, you're on the ceiling. You're in the corner. Okay.
Oh,
I know where you are now.
Oh, you're still there. Wow. Everybody else got replaced, but you're still there.
Yeah, you're still there. So, listen, I don't have all the answers. I got the answer for me. The answer for me is I don't want to allow anyone to tell me that we are not going to be able to rise to this challenge. I believe we can. I believe the challenge is going to be a challenge. But I think the more we think about how to rise to the challenge, the less we'll think about, failing.
I agree.
I hope so, anyway.
We're going to take one more quick break. All right, we're back. That's my favorite thing to do on here.
I love that.
I have a question for you, because you have your career is not your career, it's your art. It's who you are. And Jerry Zucker's a friend of mine, and you go and do a couple of movies with him, and the one that the world will always love, besides all your other movies, I mean, Ghost is this thing, this force of love that it looks so down on evil. It's so clear. You got but it's not just a good person, bad person. It's not a metaphysical movie. It's such the message. I've always wanted to ask you, I never did. That whole experience, from the moment you read the script to the moment you started filming, was it just because it was on paper, because you knew you were working with Jerry and Demi and Patrick? Did you just know that this was something that was just beautiful?
No.
Isn't that interesting? Don't you hear that a lot? It's so interesting.
Yeah. It just was like, everyone and their mother had auditioned for this part, except for me. Because no one let me know that it was out there, because they weren't interested in me to do the part. And so when they hired Patrick, apparently Patrick said, well, have you offered it? Because they were still looking for Oda Mae. And he said, well, does Whoopi not want to do it? It was like, is she not interested? And Jerry's like, no, we haven't been to her because, we've gone out to other people, and we feel like she'll take people out of the movie. And I think they felt that the persona that they thought that I had, I think it was producers really, and the writer, I think, felt that I might be too much for the part.
Because of your comedic background?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, but I just know they weren't looking for me. Because I called my agent, Ron Meyer, and I said, do you know about this movie? Everybody's like, oh, who told you? It's like, well, a friend of mine said she went and auditioned. And what he said to me was, look, there are lots of movies out there for you to do. I was like, and what does that mean? He's like, they don't really want you. we've suggested you. They don't really. And there was a great casting woman whose name, of course, slips my mind, but she wanted me too. She's the one who's casting it. She kept saying every week, whatever, Whoopi is around, So, so when they hired Patrick, they said, well, no, we haven't really gone to Whoopi because we think she'd pull people out of the movie. He said, well, I'm not going to do this unless you at least go and audition her. You have to do it. Where is she? Well, she's in Alabama right now. She's working on a movie. He's like, well, we need to go see her. And so he got a plane and put Jerry in the plane, and they came to see me in Montgomery, Alabama, where I was shooting Long Walk Home.
Right.
And as soon as Patrick showed up, we kind of were just as silly as we could be, And Jerry just was like, no, this works, but okay, And when they left, it was like, well, that was fun. It was a great afternoon. And then the next day I got a call saying, you remember that movie they didn't want you for? Well, now they do. And I was like, okay. And that's why when I won, I thanked Patrick, because had he not put his foot down and said, I need her to tell me she doesn't want to do this. This is ridiculous. I would not have gotten the part.
And the winning of that, did you feel, there have been so few Black actors and actresses that have won, and it's
up until that point. Women. There no women, certainly. Actors won, but no Black women. Between 1939, I guess, 1940, really. Right. And whenever I won, there was a dearth.
Well, it was just humanity. It was just where we were at, and look where we are. That's all going to grow from this as well, I think.
Everything
is going to grow from this.
Yeah. And it's a good thing, We might grow in some places too fast and then we'll pull back, but we will have gone further than we've gone thus far. And that's really kind of what we want. And we all need this. We all need to take a good look at the racist that lives inside of us, each and every one of us,
right.
See how we can do, what can we do better? What can we do? How can we step better? How can I be more empathetic?
That's an ultimate reset. It's a complete, people have to re-examine, and people that are just angry and refuse to accept it. And no matter what happens with the election in November and all of that stuff, if people don't get what they want, what repercussions will happen from that? We just have to trust somehow.
Yeah, we do.
That humanity.
We won't know until we know. We won't know until we know. So it's like, okay.
And you personally, your family, everybody's okay?
Yes. Everybody's good. I'm lucky. Very, very lucky. And I know it.
And you're thrilled that you have The View for all these years. When you started doing it, were you like, oh, I want to go do a movie now and then? Did you feel that, or did you feel like this is?
They said I could. They said I could. That was part of the stipulation. But I think people are very. It takes folks a long time to figure out if they want to take a chance, because if somebody decides they don't like something I said, they can really tank whatever I'm doing. So
that is where we're at too, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you don't see me driving cars and car commercials. You don't see me, doing candy bar commercials or any of the things that I would love to, I would have fun doing.
Right.
Because, it's a little iffy.
Well, you got the balls to say what you feel in your heart. I don't know how anybody can. Well, I do know how anybody could take issue. Yeah. People take issue with me, and I'm just like, I'm a good person. I just find some things funny that a guy that looks like me is not supposed to say.
Yeah. Well, that has always been your thing.
I can't help it.
You are who you are. And that's why I say when people come to see you, they know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, if you're coming with an agenda, you don't want to fight me. You know, if you don't want to, don't come. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with you not coming.
I'm okay if somebody wants to leave. I'll give them their money.
Yes. Yes.
And oddly enough, when I make that offer, nobody leaves.
No, they say, we're just going to the bathroom. Keep talking.
Or the guy will yell something out and I'll go. Then I've had people not lately, 3 months ago. I was supposed to have a big tour this year and then do my new special and then stop for a while to become a person again. But this has been a self-imposed become a person again. Yeah. But a lot of my stuff was dealing with racial inequality and the racism I had as a kid and segregation in bathrooms that I was aware of in Virginia in 1961 and all these things I didn't understand that were just there in this country. And I started talking about it. So that was my new hour before pandemic, before this explosion that has awakened the world. And
truly,
but it's in the zeitgeist, so we feel it coming anyway. And it all started with a bad cheerleader, with a bad captain at the helm.
Well, it probably didn't. It probably has been there for the longest time because you felt it. But what happened was we've come to a point where you're so incredulous of what it is that you have to tell somebody. You have to say, are you really looking at it like this? Because I don't know how you cannot see. I don't know. I don't get it. You know, I don't either. I don't either.
I don't understand racism.
Oh, honey.
No, I understand that it exists. I understand why it exists, but I don't understand it because I don't look at anybody. I don't profile. I don't understand that because I was a persecuted Jewish kid. That doesn't give me, so I was hurt.
Well, you're more, you recognize it when you see it or hear it.
Oh, hell yeah.
You may not feel it the way that I feel it, but you know what it feels like.
Yes.
Because you have empathy and you have experience. And you don't have to live in my shoes. You've been close enough to my shoes as I have been to yours. You know, they are shoes that we walk in together. So the idea that you know, you can't say to somebody, hey, I get it. It would be crazy for you not to be able to say to somebody, no, I totally understand. I get it.
But I can't understand because I haven't lived as a black man. I haven't lived that.
No, but you lived as a Jew.
Yeah, I damn well did.
Yeah. And so it is, and I say this with great love, you know, it's just harder to find you.
I don't know. I got this thing. It's
you know?
I'm pretty tall and I bop around and
that may be true.
And I'll pick up a coin every now and then if I see one on the ground.
But, you know, that's what I say to people. Listen, you're just easier to spot. That's the difference. Because if I was, you know, you can see me if I'm in, you know, I don't know, if I'm in the middle of a crowd where it's mostly white folks, you can find me. It's pretty easy. Like if I'm vacationing someplace, if I'm in, you know, the Czech Republic, you know where I am. You know, you just do.
Well, I like that because that way I wouldn't lose you. It's better than find my iPhone.
It's right here.
Your family never has to worry if you're in some foreign land. If it's like a homeland and you don't know where your passport is.
That's it. But it's, you know, it is, empathy is what pulls it all together. It's just, you know, I get it. I get it. It is what has been with us since time immemorial. Racism.
Yeah, it was hard to believe it was even worse, but
Yes.
it sure was.
Yes. And now we can say, no, you can't sit on people and kill them for 8 minutes. No. People say, no, you can't bust into somebody's house where they're living. So we had, 24 of these things, and people said, oh, it's enough. It's enough now. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. People are screaming, stop, 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 stop.
The world is screaming.
The world is screaming, stop, enough. And it's crazy. But something's happening. Change is happening.
The needle's moving. And in this 1 year that people will look back, where 2020 is supposed to be perfect vision, metaphorically, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
We'll know in 21. We'll find out.
Well, we'll know in 31. We'll know if what's happened is people have been able to make the change in this 1 year of, we're not going to take it anymore. We're mad as hell. And we're going to make 20 years of change in 1 year. And it had to come.
Yeah. It had to come.
What we need is love. And so now, when's that? I want the 60s back with peace, love, and understanding.
It sounds great, but remember, we're big old boneheads then too.
Yeah, Kent State and all the terrible Vietnam.
And then look, us yelling at all these kids who went to Vietnam, and us who didn't go, not recognizing who was coming back. We were not empathetic. There were a lot of stuff that, you kind of, I do anyway. I look back and I think, oh, that was kind of rough. I should have thought, I should have been better. I should have recognized somebody in pain. I should have seen it. I should have known they didn't have any choice in the matter, really.
No, they were lambs sent to slaughter. My cousin came back. He was sprayed with Agent Orange, and it took years for him to deteriorate and then die.
It is, we can only be as good as we can be when we're as good as we can be. It's all we have, and you got to say, you know what? I was wrong here. I didn't practice what I preach now. I didn't do that then.
Right.
I'm better now.
I mean, people protested the Vietnam War, but they didn't stop it from happening. They couldn't stop it.
We protested the kids who went also. And we did not help when those veterans came back. We did not help, and this is the truth of the 60s. We did not help those who needed us because we just made these assumptions that you were going to do this, and that was that, Didn't realize, you too, coming from a small town trying to take care of your life and your family, you end up going to war. They weren't thinking any more of you then than this one's thinking of folks now.
It makes me feel that mental health has to be at the forefront of everything, because every decade is PTSD upon PTSD upon PTSD, which is handed down to the kids and the generations. And then what about the people with no fathers, no mothers? That's how do we have to help each other.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And we have to recognize our shortcomings and make them longer, make them better, So there are aspects of everything that I missed from then, but right now feels like possibility, like anything that we can imagine might be possible, good and bad. So that means we got to keep our eyes and ears open.
Now, there's going to be more bad. and
Yeah.
and we're going
Always
into,
want that.
and we don't even know what's coming with this election, all the stuff that's going to happen between Alexa and Siri influencing us, and
I
between,
turned them all off.
oh man, I
Yeah,
try.
I don't want some chick talking to me in my room. I don't
Well,
want to be in my room and have her go, "Hello, Whoopi. Are you looking for me now? I bet you are. Try listening to this." It's like, I don't want people peeping at me. I don't
Right.
want them talking to me. Just let me do me in my house.
Something's wrong. My Alexa's become codependent. She's going, hey, Bob, wake me up tomorrow at 9 a.m. She's doing.
That's right. And it's a Twilight Zone episode where you become Alexa and Alexa becomes Bob.
Oh, that's so cool. Let's call Jordan and tell him.
There you go.
Because he's making those. Are you watching anything to get you through? Are you enjoying any binging? Are you watching movies or TV?
You know what? I've watched a couple of great things. I've watched some fun things. And some, I love horror. So I watched this last incarnation of Penny Dreadful with Nathan Lane, which was really kind of
I want to see that.
It's really good. It's really good. And then I watched The Great, which I saw by mistake and thought, oh, I'm going to stay. And then The Heist, Stealing Something I've just started. It's on Netflix. It's taken from a Spanish show. And it's wild. I can't think of it. I want to call it The Heist, but it's not. So I'm listening to books, which make me happy.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
I'm with my wife, Kelly, going through Homeland. I never watched it.
Right.
Which is, had you watched it?
No.
It's,
No.
it's CIA. It's don't trust anybody. It's the government is as evil as the terrorists. And it calms me down from the news.
Well, I don't watch the news because we have to talk about it every day. I can't.
Well, you get your notes in the morning and you guys go through them. Do you speak to each other about it? Yeah, you do. In makeup, you talk to each other some.
Well, not anymore.
No, what am I talking about? I'm living in the past. I'm living 4 months ago.
That's all right.
Oh.
But,
Are they talking about you guys coming back without an audience?
I think probably. But, you're really going to have to talk me into coming, leaving my house.
That's a lot of finger pricks, and it's a lot of... The nose swabs don't go all the way up. I had one yesterday, the new one.
You are not putting anything in my nose.
Yeah.
My nose is to blow things out, not to accept things in. But I know I have to be an adult.
Although in the early 80s, you never did... Never mind.
No. No. Yes.
Oh.
But I'm just not prepared to leave the house yet. I'm just not. And this works really well. I like this.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say that, but I mean, we go in the backyard and we're in Hawaii. I go, we're in Hawaii today, honey.
That's right.
Let's go in the kitchen. We're going to go to a really good restaurant.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I love you so much.
The feeling is mutual.
I always have. You're such an amazing person. I just you inspire me so much, and thank you for doing this.
Well, anything for you because you make me laugh, so it makes me happy.
And I haven't done any penis jokes. There was one moment that something was coming. I can't remember. Maybe I just did. I did it, so that was it. So,
it was.
Yeah, I got scared.
But like it goes quicker than you think.
There's another one now. No matter what you say, that's the beauty of them. Once you start one, see, it doesn't. They compound, kind of like interest in a bank. Well, not now, but
that's right.
Well,
that's right. My question is: are people actually sleeping together? Or are they lying?
That
are they wearing masks in bed?
I wear one over my crotch, and as though it fell out of an airplane, and just continue to breathe normally. And put it over yourself before the baby. But the baby shouldn't be in the room if you're in bed.
That's right.
No, you should. Non sequiturs are not necessary right now. But but I do think when this thing is over, there are going to be people that are going to want to split up. There are going to be people that love each other more than they ever imagined because they're working so hard they never saw each other. But and some kids are going to want to be emancipated.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating. That's the other thing. I mean, looking at humanity, it's an amazing thing, and people that are in denial have to stop. They just have to stop. They have to wear the mask. Stop. Droplets never meant anything bad, but now it's all real. Yeah. It's all real. Well, stay well. You and your family. Sending you so much love, Whoopi.
Ditto.
So happy to talk to you.
And you. Mwah. Bye,
love
baby.
you. Whoopi Goldberg. See, that's how you do a professional thing. Boy, do I love her. She is, no matter what you believe in life, if you can have the strength to have the conviction to know who you are and speak your mind. I've always loved her. She's just a special person. Some of you out there might not believe in her views. I'm of like mind. Might not believe in my views, but I'm open to listen to your views. She's open to listen to people's views, and everybody should be. And I don't know what to say. I love Whoopi Goldberg. So that's it. Another episode of Bob Saget's Here for You. There, I said it. I really love doing this. I hope you guys enjoy it. You subscribe, you rate, review, buy everything the sponsors said, listen to all the podcasts they promoted during this thing. Go up in the thing. There's a phone number you can call. Leave a message, and I'll put on Twitter and Instagram when I'm going to call you guys and see how you're doing throughout this this time and throughout the next time. I'm not stopping doing this. This isn't something I did for quarantine. This isn't something I did. I did it because it came naturally, because I felt that was something I wanted to add to my hard drive of always wanting to do comedy, always wanting to do something that affected people or entertained them or helped them or whatever. So sending you all my best, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Be well, everybody.